I'm here live to take your questions. It's so good to see you. So good that you can join me and that I can be able to just give you some updates. So, there's a lot going on, as we all know. So, what's going on now is the one of the biggest pieces of news we have is the Court of Appeals has now declined to lift the order to stop the ending of TPS of Haitians. So that means that TPS is still in place for Haitians. The other thing is that the Supreme Court, though, has now accepted the basically the appeal of the government to basically an emergency appeal to the Supreme Court to get TPS to end TPS. So we have to see where this is going to go. Traditionally, the Supreme Court has sided with the government on TPS. So we have to see what's going to happen there. The Supreme Court is also going to be listening to the citizenship. So basically, to end birthright citizenship, they are going to be considering that, but they're going to be going through the hearings first. So that all of that is happening in the coming weeks. So stay posted so to be able to understand what comes next. Because once the Supreme Court makes a decision, unless Congress steps in and legislates a solution, it could mean good news or bad news. So we have to see. In the meantime, we're working with solutions on our end that we have. And I have an amazing, I had to stop today and really just look at how far we've brought some of our clients. And I have a really, really nice one for you. We're almost at the finish line with this client. And I called this client and I'm like, listen, we need to get a move on this. So this is regarding the T visa. And it's such an important example of why you need to look at all your options. Because in this case, we had a client who came to us. By the time the client came in the 1990s. And what happened is this client was a Haitian citizen. And the client had come across the border when the client was very young, came across the border without permission. But what happened is she got turned back at the border, then she came back across. When that happened, snuck back across the border. When that happens, it results in a permanent bar. So our client was very, very young, just turned 18, was just, very young and trying to get to her family. And there were just these were extenuating circumstances. Our client, when she came to us, she was not admissible for anything, right? No hope for a green card because there was a permanent bar attached to her. When she was turned around at the border, she was also charged with misrepresentation, which comes with another permanent bar. So she had two big deuces that was threatening to keep her from getting her papers at all. However, as we always do here at the firm, I did not say no hope. That's not me. That's not my team here. What I do is I ask detailed questions to figure out, just like I figured out how is it that you came across the border? How is it that you got turned around and you ended up coming in? I found out about those circumstances. But then it went further, and I asked the questions that not a lot of attorneys do ask, unfortunately, and that's why a lot of attorneys miss solutions like this. But I asked about her experiences since she's been here. It must have been really hard knowing that she's been here without her papers, without a hope of getting her papers because there's permanent bars. She's being basically told left, right, and center by other attorneys that there's no hope. So I started to ask her, what's life like? How is she making it? And what I found out was she was a victim of trafficking, because of her situation, people started to use it against her, right? They realized that she was on here without papers, so they took advantage of her. They basically hijacked her business, took over her business, blackmailed her, made her work for them, and it was started out as her business. And guess what happened? They came into her business, found out she was not with papers, and turned around and started to force her to work for them, and started to threaten ICE and just make her work down to the bone, then not giving her any pay, even though this started out to be her business, right? That is trafficking, right? Even though this started out to be her business, those traffickers, those people that mistreated her came in, oh, we're going to help you with your business. We're going to do right by you. We're going to help you since you don't have your papers. And it turned into a nightmare. Instead, these people took her business over and then forced her to work in it. That's because of this, we were able to get the T status for our client. So now here's the thing. Our client would never have gotten any kind of papers in any other case. But in the T visa case, all those permanent bars that really don't have any waivers, there are waivers available for forgiveness to be able to go on to get papers. So our client was able to get her T visa, 4-year work permit, and move on. And our client, who is entrepreneurial, was able to still move forward, pick herself up, and start a business with her T visa, and continue to live and move forward with her life. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. There's more to this. Once our client got the T visa, guess what else our client qualified for? Our client would have never qualified for the green card before. But once our client got forgiven for all the permanent bars, our client now became eligible for the green card. Now, there are two ways that we do this. We can wait 3 years so it's a 4-year work permit, 4-year status. You wait 3 years, you get you can apply for your green card through adjustment of status using the T status. Or there are ways to apply early. Well, we jumped on it right away. As soon as our client got the forgiveness for all the inadmissibilities, we said, let's go for early adjustment of status. Let's get on this. We went ahead and we went through the process of applying for our client to get, so we basically have to ask for permission for our client to apply for the green card early. We just got that letter. Our client is a Haitian citizen, and even with everything that is happening, we just got the letter from Department of Justice confirming that, yes, you can move forward. Your client can now apply early for adjustment of status. So what's going to happen now is we are going to go ahead and submit that green card application, that one thing that our client was never eligible for. No, it is right there on the cusp of reality for her. This is what the T visa has done for our client, right? So I want you to hear about this, because this is what we're doing here in this office. We're making a difference. And sometimes it feels slow. It feels, with everything going on, the horrible news, sometimes it just doesn't even feel like we're just barely chipping away at the problem. But today, when I really sat down and I just stopped and reflected on this, and I got to talk to the client, this is the real impact, right? It impacted her life, but it has the ability to impact many people like this. And we've done this for many people. I can tell you about multiple stories like this where our clients didn't have hope, but now they do through the T visa. And now the T visa, who is eligible? So somebody has just asked who's eligible for the T visa. So in this case, the T visa, if you have been here and you've been mistreated by someone who used you, basically used you to get something out of you, whether they got your labor from you, they got you to do acts that you weren't willing to do, um, then you are maybe eligible for the T visa. So I like to say it's very broad and it's so fact based. This is why when you call the office, that they're always going to say you need to talk to the attorney because this is so fact based. As I gave that example, do you realize that the way I learned that she qualified for this was I had to get into detail, right? It's not, are you married to a citizen? Do you have a US citizen son or daughter? It is more about what's your experience? What has been your life here? What have you been through? Right? When I hear those facts, I'm able to find solutions for my clients. So, for example, clients come to us for solutions and they end up having medical conditions that qualifies them. If they nothing else they qualify for, that medical condition, because it's so severe, they qualify to get what's called deferred action. And so we've gotten this approved even under this administration. So don't give up. And what I say is find a trusted attorney who can find solutions for you. That's what we are here doing. We are talking to clients one by one, individuals one by one, to learn about their circumstances and to figure out real solutions. And I am going to keep doing that. So that is basically what I am working on right now is solutions. And I want you to do the same thing, even with all the chaos going on around us. I want you to know that there is still the law and it is still working. We are still seeing our results for our clients. We are still getting relief for our clients. So it's really all about action. And I can't take action unless you take action, right? So just make sure that you are thinking about solutions, reach out to us, talk to us about what you're going through so we can determine whether there are real solutions for you. All right, so now I'm going to answer questions. And the first one was who qualifies for the T visa? So I just talked to you about it. But here's what I say it's so broad. You need to make sure that you are contacting us if you are being mistreated or you were mistreated by an individual here who used you, abused you. It could be an employer, could be an intimate partner, could be a friend, could be an acquaintance, could be a stranger. If you were in a situation where you felt trapped and that person you basically held your immigration status over your head, even if they didn't say it straight up, you knew that was the case and you felt forced to stay in that situation, then it's time to talk to us about getting you relief here under the law, right? These are real legal solutions that we are getting for our clients. All right, so let me go ahead and answer some more questions. Go ahead and put questions in the comments. Okay, so I saw who is eligible for the T visa. I answered. Make sure. Now we also have a new website, guys. Go to the link in the profile. We're here at the website. We've made it very user friendly. We've made it very easy for you to contact us. We have a contact page. You learn more about me, the team, what we've done, our past clients, our successes, go ahead and go visit the website. It really is a reflection of who we are, and I want all of you to be able to learn more about the law firm there, what we do, our case types. It's all there. So go to the link in the profile. It's going to take you to Linktree, and then you're going to click on the button that says "Go to the website," and you'll be able to see all the information there. Please, among the 75 countries visa pause, please want to ask that can case move to 221G? So I'm blanking on the 221G. No, it's 221G. I'm not sure. 221G is that the temporary visa. Now, if this is regarding the temporary visa, this pause is not related to temporary visas. So if you're applying for any kind of temporary visa, then you are still eligible. But you still have to show strong ties to your home country. The 75, the pause on the 75, basically the visa pause, the immigrant visa pause is related to the immigrant visa, which is the immigrant visa is for green cards, right? So permanent residents. Oh, thank you so much. My wife filed for my kids in Jamaica. I'm now naturalized. How do I get them here faster? So if your wife filed, you're now a citizen. Your spouse is probably ahead of you already. If you're still together, everything is still good with your spouse, she still wants to continue to file for the kids, then that's gonna be the best way. You filing for them it could be a plan B, but keep in mind that you're gonna be behind her petition in processing times. The other thing, unfortunately, is we're still dealing with a pause, right? You have a process in place. You have a process that's pending. That is important that you still have that process pending. But there really isn't, if your children are in Jamaica, unless they're in the US and can file for adjustment of status, there's really no way around that pause right now. But here's what I say, still make sure you are applying. If you qualify, apply. Don't let this stop you from applying for what you qualify for, because you could lose eligibility if you don't apply on time or you don't meet a deadline. But unfortunately, if your spouse has already applied, everything is good there. You just have to stick with that process. You could file a petition as a backup, but it's not going to make the process go faster. It also depends on how old your kids are, because I know we talk about our kids, but some of us, we may have 21-year-olds or 22-year-olds that we still feel are our kids. So it also depends on how old the kids are. Now, if your spouse filed for the kids, as long as the kids were under 18 at the time you got married, that petition should still be okay. So this is where I say, if you have any doubts, questions, definitely make sure you're talking to an attorney. Okay, good night. What about the 75 country ban? I submitted my I-485 and I-765 since November 7, 2025. I haven't received any notification that they received it. So I would be concerned if you submitted it in November and you have not received a receipt notice. Yeah, that's maybe a problem. There could be a number of things going on with the application. Now, one thing is, have you verified that it was delivered? If you verified it was it delivered to the right place? Because they have very specific instructions on where different petitions need to go. So there's some questions here about why, because yeah, that is unusual for an adjustment of status, not for you not to get a receipt notice yet. I'd be concerned. Is there a way to extend driver's license while we are in the pending process? Yes. So it depends. If I don't know if you're referring to TPS, if you're on TPS, um, as long as the court order is still in place, you should be able to still extend your driver's license. If you are talking about you're going through an adjustment of status process, when you get the work permit, you need to make sure that you apply for a renewal of the work permit. When you get that, then you need to take it to the office and extend your license. So make sure you're early on all renewals. Don't wait till last minute. Okay, so remember here, when you're contacting us through Instagram, we definitely have people who are talking. We have our agents that talk to clients and, well, individuals through our DMs, but keep in mind, we don't provide legal advice through the DMs, and that is for protection of people, right? So we talk, we get your contact information, or we give you our contact information to call us directly in order to schedule time to talk to us. So you can DM us to let us know, you want to talk, you want time to schedule to talk. Then we'll go ahead and switch the phone so we can talk to you about your situation and then get you scheduled. Now, my schedule is filling up and our schedules are filling up here at the firm. So make sure that you get in touch with us ASAP to talk to us about potential solutions, because it's busy, guys. But I want to make sure that we can talk to you to get to a solution. But you really do have to take action. All right. Okay, I'm on TikTok. You can continue to put your questions in the comments on Instagram. Hi there, Nadia. It's nice to see you. Are you getting delayed in T visa, EAD, BFD? So there is a delay between the BFD and the EAD. So first, the BFD comes, which is the bona fide determination letter comes, and then the EAD tends to come later. The bona fide determination letter is still very valuable because it clearly states that once you have that BFD, you cannot be placed in removal, and then the EAD comes after. But yeah, so we are seeing delays. Now, keep in mind, guys, that I don't work for the USCIS. I do work to advocate for my clients, and we do it well before the USCIS, but we do not work for them. We don't control processing times, right? So what I do is I give estimates based on what we are seeing, based on the patterns, but in no way, shape, or form can we control processing times. Good night. Can I file for my husband on green card, and how long? Yes, you can, but we need to understand. Well, it's possible, but I don't know what your status is. It really depends. Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a permanent resident? Where is your husband? Is he outside of the country? Is he in the country? Now we have to also consider, is he from a banned country? Is he from a country, one of the 75 countries? If he's outside of the US, if he's here in the US, what's that going to look like? There's so many questions that we have to ask now in this landscape. So get in touch with us. What I would say is, if you're a permanent resident and your spouse is here in the US and your spouse is still in current status, adjustment of status is possible. If you're a permanent resident, if you are a US citizen, your spouse is here, whether they overstayed their visa, whether they overstayed their visa or they're still here on their papers, adjustment of status may be an option, but we still have a lot of questions we need to ask you to confirm and get started. You know, when it comes to, for example, marriage-based green cards, the one thing that a lot of people don't even think about is the affidavit of support. It is the one of the most overlooked aspects of this, but it creates the most denials. So make sure that you are looking at these are things that we look at. We ask those questions. You know, what's your income? Will you need a co-sponsor? We ask those questions. So make sure that you understand that these cases, you may think it's simple, and these cases are not simple. There are a lot of considerations that we have to talk about. Did they stop the re-entry permit? So I don't know if you're the re-entry permit. No, they haven't stopped it. If you're talking about if you're here for a green card and you want to stay out of the country for 2 years, they haven't stopped that. Actually, you need to make sure you get that before you leave the country for like 2 years. And actually, we've been getting travel documents like crazy for our clients. So we've had a number of clients that were given work permits before, and now they're being issued approved travel documents. Now, whether or not you're going to take that travel document and actually travel outside of the US is another thing, right? I usually want to talk to clients on a case by case basis, just to make sure they fully understand the risk involved. But I always still apply for the travel document to ensure that the client, if they have any emergencies, if anything happens, they do have the ability to travel if they decide to take that risk on. And in the past few weeks, we've gotten a number of them. So giving advance parole has not stopped, given the travel document, but still be very careful about travel. Live in Louisiana with L1B visa. Can I apply for NIW and get a decision, though I'm from Nigeria? So now it depends again. You may be here on a valid visa, of course, you going for the national interest waiver. But the other thing we need to talk about is the priority date. So we still have to look at your priority date. Nigeria is also a partially banned country, which means that there may be delays because they're not stopping this, but they are pausing everything. So would have to, because people who are in the US are not subject to the ban. However, they are pausing processing of applications right now. So 2 things we'd have to look at is your priority date, whether it would allow you to apply for adjustment of status at the same time that you're submitting the I-140 petition. And then not to also mention, we want to talk about your qualifications and whether you do meet the criteria to be able to get the national interest waiver. So get in touch with us, talk to us. Just make sure you treat this with urgency, call the office, talk to the team, and get on my schedule. Can my wife file with the tax return 2024? So the 2024 for now, it's going to be the most recent tax return until after April 15th, then it's going to be the tax return 2025 that they're going to expect is going to be filed with the affidavit of support. My 48 month is expire, what I'm going to do. So in the case that the 48 months expires, we arrange for our clients to get a stamp. So it's you schedule an appointment with the USCIS to go get a stamp. So we go into our USCIS account, we schedule an appointment for our client to go in and get a green card stamp in their passport, and that usually takes care of it. It's 22 months now. What's going on with the T visa? What to expect? So I don't know why you're saying 22 months. The processing times is outside of our control. And each case is different, right? So just because it hits 22 months does not mean that you're just going to get a decision because it's 22 months, right? The USCIS is very much running on their own schedule and own timeline. I can say that the average processing time now is about 2 years or more. So we're seeing about 28 months. What to expect? What we're seeing is around the 2-year mark. Right now, you'll see if you go to the USCIS website, you'll see it's actually 28 months now, but we're seeing a decision at around that time. If you haven't received your work permit yet, your bona fide work permit, then you're likely going to get that work permit upon approval of the T visa. I want to know why they're canceling interview appointments for citizenship. There may be varied reasons why. Some of it is related to the pause. So some people are from certain countries where they're pausing citizenship. So that may be it. Can I file a habeas corpus even though I have a final removal? So no. No, if you're detained, the habeas corpus is really in the case that you are facing threat of detention, imminent threat of detention, or you are detained. In the case of a final removal order, there may be other types of strategies to look at, but it really depends on the reason. With the final removal order, did you go to court? Did you go to your final hearing? Did you not get notice? Was it a final removal order and abstention? That counts on how we would then approach the case. It might be a motion to reopen, for example, in the case that you had no notification of the removal. If someone has a redetermination bond court hearing, so that sounds like a criminal. I don't know if this is now. Yes, we have bond in. We do. Oh, yes, we do have bond in immigration court. Now, keep in mind, is pro se a good way to go? No. You're never going to hear me say yes. Pro se means you're going without an attorney. You're never going to hear me say go without an attorney. There are real legal arguments and criteria that you have to argue in order for the judge to redetermine the bond, right? So, for instance, you have to show that you are not a flight risk, right? If you, that is going to be one of the criteria here, that you're not a danger to the public, right? And some of these, you would be surprised how in-depth these arguments have to be. We've cited to case law. We've shown, for example, one of our clients was detained by ICE, and how our client got detained by ICE was our client was driving and got stopped. And when he got stopped, he got so spooked, he backed right into the police cruiser by accident, but that got him into more trouble. He was detained and sent right over to ICE because I believe it was in South Carolina. Uh, Now, because our client had a pending criminal case now, right? It's traffic. He wasn't a danger. It wasn't like he intended to hit the police car, but he now had a pending criminal case that he had to attend to. And so we were able to make sure to show the judge that our client is going to be deprived of due process if he's not released and able to attend his court hearing in order to address the criminal offense, the violations that the police cited him for. He had his family in the area, so we could show that he was not a flight risk, that he had ties to the community, and that before this happened, he did not have a criminal record. So he was not likely to be a danger to the public. But these are strategies, these are legal strategies that a non-attorney isn't really gonna think about, right? Because this is all based on legal research, case law that we look at when we're gonna go and we look at each fact. It's not a one size fits all. So going to the any kind of I would say going to anything, guys, without an attorney is a bad idea. Going to interviews, going to court, bad idea. You want to make sure you're looking out for yourself, right? You need to make sure you're investing in yourself and betting on yourself by getting the right people to help you. So no, do not do it pro se. Can my wife file? Okay, so I answered that. If someone has, okay, so I answered that. I applied for VAWA. I get my work permit. So how long for my green card interview? So right now processing times show at the USCIS as 48 months. So you have quite a while. The good news is that the work permit enables you to have the protection that you would not have had before. And you're able to renew that work permit and continue to work legally, stay here in the US while you wait for your process to go through. But the processing time right now is about 48 months. We're seeing a little over 3 years, but the longest cases right now is about 48 months. So it's crazy right now. But one of the good things about these applying for these when you qualify are the protections, guys. Right now is not the time to be out there without papers, without showing that you have the permission to live and work here, right? What's the possibility for an approved VAWA case? Well, that's a very vague question. But here's the deal. If you qualify for VAWA, then you have a very good possibility of having an approved VAWA. But we'd have to figure out if you qualify because these case types are not a one size fits all. So this is where I leave it up to you to get in touch with us and talk to us about your situation so that we can determine whether you have a good shot. Hi there, Eddie. Okay. Yes, I have been busy. I've been busy getting results for clients, and so it takes, sometimes it takes a while to get back on. But this is why I say make sure you follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because when I come on, you can come on and ask questions. I was born from the USA, but my fiance is a citizen. Can he marry me? So I'm assuming you're saying you were born outside of the US, but your fiance is a citizen. Can he marry you? Yes. So if you're outside of the US and your fiance wants to apply for a fiance visa for you, yes. If they want to get married to you and then file for you, yes. If you're here in the US, you get married, you want to apply for your green card, yes. Now, to talk about the details on how that's going to work, get in touch with us so we can sift through more of the details and confirm you qualify. But it's absolutely a possibility that your US citizen fiance can marry you, and then you can make a life here in the US and pursue your green card for sure. I got my biometrics done last week for VAWA. What's next? Usually, it no, and it depends on your particular case, but usually prima facie, if you haven't gotten that already, work permit comes next, travel document if you apply for that. And then after that, there's going to be a wait time. You may have to renew your work permit, and then you're going to get your green card eventually. Here's another benefit, guys, of the T visa bona fide determination. So while they have reduced the work permit, for example, work permit applications for adjustment of status from 5 years down back to 18 months, which means you have to frequently renew while you're going through processing times. The bona fide determination is still 4 years. So our client, for example, I just received a work permit for a client who was applying for the T visa and got the work permit while he's waiting, and our client got the 4 year, right? So they have not reduced the time on the work permits. My husband got his SSN and EAD in August 2024 and still waiting for green card. What can we do? So at this point, was there an interview? If there was no interview and you're now beyond the case processing times, an inquiry may be the first action to take in order to see what's going on. Is it good to change my physical address after my marriage interviews? If your physical, no, it's always best to make sure that you and your spouse's addresses, you make sure you update your addresses to show that you're truly living with your spouse. If you did it after the interview, then go ahead and make sure you update your address. But this is why it's so important to make sure you have legal representation and help before applying, because these are things that we help our clients to understand the effects of it, what to do, and just to make sure that everything is lined up for their green card process. The reentry question is for a minor who has legal residence. Okay. So the reentry permit is still there. All right, I'm answering more questions. Can I apply for SIJS for my niece? Yes, yes, you can. We'd have to talk to figure out what's going on, and then we could move forward with that process. For those persons not afforded an attorney and or detained without access to an attorney, should they ask for an order for stay? So here's the deal. I mean, I'm not your attorney. I can't give personalized legal advice. However, what I always advise, and these are just your basic rights. Now, I know the specific question is, no, I think this is like a stay of removal. So as you said, order for stay, but it's usually called like a stay of removal. And there's a specific form that you can fill out and submit it to the ICE, and ICE then will make a determination first. Absolutely, if you are facing imminent threat of removal, you need to look out for your interest and take the measures, the legal measures possible to protect yourself. And that may be putting a stay of removal in, right? A request for a stay of removal. There are other measures like an emergency court filing, a habeas corpus to the court, just depending though on what's going on, what are the facts involved. Now, it's hard to explain those concepts because these are really concepts that we use these are tools we use as anybody can use them. But these are tools mainly used by attorneys. So we're quick on our feet with them. But absolutely, if you're facing imminent removal, then you need to request a stay of removal. There's a specific form that you can complete to do that. Now, here's the additional things that you need to know. Don't sign anything with, and I know you have here, you don't have an attorney, but this is where one is so important to have a relationship with an attorney that you can call on, because not having an attorney can really mean the difference between you being removed right away or you getting to stay here because you understand your rights, you got legal advice about your rights. But if you are signing, do not sign anything unless you truly understand what the implications of that is, right? So you may be presented with documents to sign. It may feel very intimidating, especially in a situation where you're detained. You need to make sure that if you have no access to an attorney, you understand what's on that paper. If you don't understand what's on that paper, it is within your right to not sign anything. Okay. Same thing with questions. You have the right to remain silent. So that means that you don't have to answer questions. If you're stopped on the street, for example, under certain state laws, you may have to provide your name or you may simply have to provide your identification, but you don't have to answer any questions, right? You have the right to remain silent. So make sure that you are thinking about your rights, you're protecting your rights. Because even though, say, in the moment, it may not feel like it's doing anything for you, it might very well pay off in the future when you do have to bring an action in your defense, or you have to appeal, or you have to reopen or get reconsideration or have a judge review your case. These things taking these steps will help to protect your interest. Ma'am, can one site still apply for asylum? Yes. Now, what I would say is jump on it very quickly because they are now looking at policies to basically change giving work permits from 6 months after filing to 1 year after filing. So you want to be ahead of the game. If you qualify for asylum, make sure you're on top of it. Thank you so much for the love. on TikTok, on Instagram. It really makes a difference because it allows people to see this information, to hop on, to participate, to ask questions that they need to be asked. So thanks so much for being able to spread the word and promote the live through just hitting the like button. Hi there, Sasha. It's nice to see you as always. I think we go as far back as 2021. You've always been on my lives. It's nice to see you. Please just want to know, um, our advanced parole taking 2 years to be approved? So I would say about a year to be approved on average. And it depends. Now, family based advanced parole, you're looking at maybe 3 months. Now, if you are applying for emergency advanced parole, where you have to travel very quickly for an emergency, you're looking at very quickly, within 6 weeks to get an emergency advance parole. But once again, travel, you really need to consider the risk. My husband was an asylum seeker before we met, and his current work authorization is good until 2030. Okay, yep. So that's good. Yeah. So that's still going to be in place. Do you have any update on DV lotteries? So I did see that they're going to start the lottery again, but I have to go look more at what's going on with it. But I do see they're going to restart it again. Can you switch from J1 to F1 visa? It's possible. It is a possibility as long as there's not the 2-year foreign residency requirement. So there is a fee schedule on the USCIS.gov website. If you go there, you'll be able to see the fee, the filing fee for the I-751. That's to go from the 2-year to the 10-year. I've been waiting for my VAWA process for 4 years. Is that normal? Unfortunately, it is not out of the ordinary. 4 years is definitely longer than what we're usually used to, but not very far beyond the 3.5 years. Keep in mind, though, if you look at case processing times online at USCIS, they give you the full length of processing times. And I believe right now we are at around 48 months. I just got my receipt notice for VAWA. What comes next and what is the timeline? So biometrics comes next, maybe prima facie. Sometimes prima facie comes before the biometrics. Biometrics, I would give it another 2 to 4 months for biometrics. Then after that, if you applied for adjustment of status, a work permit, travel document, at the 6-month mark to the 12-month mark. So it could be along that timeline, you'd be able to get the work permit and the travel document. What if someone work permit expired and they're still working? So it's going to depend on what kind of work permit you got. And the next question is, why don't you just renew it? So if you have any questions, there is time to talk to an attorney for sure. Hi there, Jordan. Now, if you are in a situation where you're afraid to go back to your home country, let's start with for any reason, like there's a specific reason, there's a specific threat you're facing, you don't want to go back, it's time to talk to us. But you have to do it very quickly. Asylum is something that has a deadline, and if you apply past the deadline, it's going to mean it's going to reduce your chances of success, right? It's going to make it harder. Some people have a good reason for applying past the deadline, but once you pass a deadline, it gets harder to explain it, and one can lose their ability to qualify for asylum. So filing timely, super important. Talk to us first. Let's determine whether you have a good, solid, legally qualified asylum case, and then get it in before the deadline. Thank you. Wow, 7.1K likes on Instagram, and I don't see where I can log the likes on Instagram, but I'm seeing the love coming in on Instagram as well. And that makes me feel so warm inside. And I just know that that's making a difference for people, because they can see that they can see this information, and this is information that empowers people through their immigration journey. So keep it coming. My husband is a US citizen, and he filed for my 13-year-old daughter last year, May. She's in Jamaica. How long do you think the wait will be? So there's a number of things going on here. We have a pause, and the pause is indefinite. That is bringing uncertainty into the situation. What I would say here, they have filed a lawsuit, so we have to see if the lawsuit creates a situation where the judge lifts the pause. So we'll have to watch and see. What I would say is the best thing you did was still move forward and applied for the kids, because as soon as the pause gets lifted or a court lifts the pause, then you're going to be able to move forward, and your kids will still be qualified, and you'll be ahead in the line. So I know it's hard right now, it's so frustrating, but keep applying for the benefits you qualify for. How often do you go live, attorney? So I don't have specific time right now. I'm trying to get back onto schedule. I really would like to ideally be on here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, ideally, because I really do enjoy being on here, giving information, answering questions. But it is so busy, and we're focused now on just making sure that our clients' cases, that we are focusing on this case strategies, focusing on the detail in our clients' cases. And we have so many clients that are coming to us for help. So we are working around the clock, and I'm working around the clock with the team to make sure that these cases go in, and that they go in properly, because we deal with case types, we deal with complex case types. And that's because we ask very specific questions. We dig into our clients' circumstances to find solutions. And because of that, we deal with very intense cases. So there are a lot of moving pieces. And that's just to say, I would really love to be here every day. I really am going to try to be here as often as I can. But I have a good reason, and that is we're really pushing to make sure that all the clients that are coming to us for assistance, they get the quality they deserve, that me and my team can provide that. Okay, so no biometrics after 8 months. Yes, that's not strange either. Do you specialize only in immigration law, or are you civil, criminal? So we do a majority immigration. I am a certified acceptance agent, so I do assist clients to be able to get their ITIN as well, so their ITIN numbers. Oh, thank you so much, Sasha. Yes, they are. The team is great. My team is great, and that's why we bring good results. I appreciate that. So, what I'm going to say here is, in order to get updates, make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do what you can to be able to see when I come on live so that you can come on, you can ask questions, you can just get updates. You can also follow me, and by following me, you will see that I release many videos a day about different types of aspects of the immigration process. All of them, all my videos are focused on solutions that help our clients who are here to be able to stay here, to get their papers here, to find solutions to very difficult cases. So, even following me, you will be able to get the information that's very valuable. And then, most of all, you want to actually take action, move forward. It's time to give us a call, right? Or where our phone lines are, we have 24/7 answering. So we answer our calls 24/7. And during business hours, we call you right back. Go to the website. The website is awesome. It really tells the story about who we are, what we do. It comes directly from our clients. Our clients tell their stories about what they have been through and how we've helped them. I'm really proud of the website and how it really, really conveys the firm, the changes we've made in people's lives, and that the mission that we continue to be on. So go check out the website. That's another way to get in touch with us directly. And remember, your contact with us is confidential. It's one of the cornerstones of the attorney client relationship is we must. It is not an option. We must be able to maintain confidentiality. So we're a safe space to be able to talk about your circumstances, your situations, be able to find solutions. So get in touch with us. It's very easy. We're very accessible. You can go to the link in bio. You can go to the website. You can contact us there. You can DM us, and then we'll give you either our contact information or we'll get your information so we can call you. But we make it so easy to talk to us. So do that now, because now is the time, guys. I see the changes that I'm making, and it keeps me going. Even with how hard things are, we're still making a change, right? And that's because of our spirit here at SD Law Office and my mission as the attorney here at SD Law Office. So I am going to head out, but go ahead, like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell. That is how you're going to see when I come on. You're going to see video updates, and you're going to be able to go ahead and join and ask questions. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.